Good morning. How are you? It's Monday morning. It's the last week before Christmas, and we are going to go into shutdown from this Friday. So this is the last week. We've got 3 more episodes, and I'm joined today by Jay and possibly Robert. Not sure if Robert's going to come or not, or whether I've done another one of those Mercury retrograde mess ups in communication. But it's all good. It's all good. I can see we've got Jay limbering up in the back room. She's going like this. Oh, she's like getting really ready, doing her exercises so that we can have some absolute magic and mayhem and loads of fun. Before we get going though, I want to just share with you, on Friday we've got our Christmas show. Woohoo! So we are going to be I'm inviting all the presenters back. I don't know who's free to show up so close to Christmas, but it's going to be a bit of a free-for-all. And if you're a loyal watcher, I know we have lots of people that watch our show every day, and you want to join us, then just drop me a message. I've put a little note up on the Barefoot Broadcast community page, actually on YouTube. So have a look at that. It's got my number on. It's also got, I think, my email address, and you can hook up with me or Carl via Facebook if you want to join us. But if you can't join us, but still would like to join us, then why not send us a really short little message about Christmas, or a little hello, or whatever it is that you want to share with people. So please feel free to do that, because we'd love it if you could become part of our show. It's been really nice. We've got people in the chat room, and we get a lovely flow of conversation going most shows now. And it's grown. And then this next little milestone, I'm going to share with Jay on screen, actually. Let's bring Jay on now. Hey, Jay.
Good morning. Hello.
You're looking fantastic. Can I just share with you, this is the 50th show of the Barefoot Broadcast.
Yeah. Oh, no wonder I had to spend 12 hours in makeup then.
You do spend you do look like you spent more time on yourself than I've spent on mine. My hair is slightly wet from the shower this morning.
You know what Louisa? 3 minutes. I don't give it any more than that. I can't be bothered.
Seriously. Oh, it's amazing. So yeah, today's the 50th show since we started in September. So I'm really chuffed about that.
That's amazing. Well, you've done a fantastic job of this. And I know what you're saying about Mercury retrograde, because I was beginning to think, 1 or 2 things were going a little bit, and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, just slow down, because what's it all about? Retrograde, all the things begin with reanalyze, recoup, regroup, review.
Yes, reimagine, re-envisage. I love the Mercury retrograde times. I tend to, I know it doesn't probably sound like I do much business planning, to be fair, but I actually do all of my business planning, not all of it, most of it, during Mercury retrograde. I put aside time to re-envisage everything, because, I just see it as that sort of mental you're kind of getting your hands in and loosening the knots inside your brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, and it's always a funny time. It's like with the old Friday the 13th thing. People go, oh my God, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
My luckiest day. The 13th is my lucky number, and it always is. Something always happens good on that day. Now, if I went into that day fearing it and all the rest of it, I'm quite sure that not good things would happen, or less than good things. So I think, again, this show, I think, is about the magic that we are. And if I can share my story when you're ready, at some point.
Yes, well, before we get going, let's just welcome all the. I can see we've got people watching today. Please do drop us a line. Let us know who you are, where you are, and what magic you're getting ready to create, or what magic you've created recently. I mean, the show title is Life-Changing Moments and Magical Epiphanies. So I'd love to hear from you guys, what you created yourself. Oh, wow. That is very bling. Oh, that's so lovely. It's funny, seeing that has got me in the mood for panto. And I saw an old photo today of me and Carl just before he went on into pantomime, and he had this
Yeah.
like big old like blonde curly wig and a cowboy hat and his
Oh,
beard. He looked really kind of sexy actually. So I
did
quite
he
like
keep
it.
he still wear it?
No, I don't know what happened to that wig, but he did wear my boots. My shoes are only a little bit I always wear my shoes big, but my
Yeah.
feet are just a size smaller than his. So, technically he can kind of wear my shoes if they're
Yeah.
big, So he had a pair of these orange, it sounds really gross, but these orange patent croc knee-high boots.
Wow.
And they were
But he
they were
looked amazing.
yeah, I mean, they were pretty amazing boots. I couldn't wear them because I could wear them, but I couldn't walk in them because they had a wedge, and I'm really clumsy at anything with a heel on. But
Yeah.
he was, like, magnificent in them with his beautiful legs, and, oh, I
Oh,
was
do
I
you
was
know?
quite well gel.
I know. I often think they dress up better than we do sometimes, even in jest.
Well, isn't female fashion actually based more on a male frame? I think it is anyway.
I think it is.
Carl's going, "Oh god," in the background because he knows I'm gonna go on a rant. Anyway, let's get
Oh,
back onto the
well,
subject.
what you could do is you can actually perform your own. We could do a barefoot Cinderella, and he could be Cinderella, and then you get try the shoe on because it's a little bit too small for him, and he's actually, I don't know. There's something here. I think we can work with
You know
this.
what? I mean, it's funny actually because pantomime is ridiculously ungendered, isn't it? Or it's like reverse.
Oh, no, it's not.
Can you hear Carl in the background? Let me switch this mic up.
Oh, no, it's not.
Can you hear that?
Oh my gosh!
Oh
Yes.
no, it's not. In fact, I quite fancy being like the pantomime prince.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got Sarah Taylor joining us this morning, saying good morning, sparkling spirit.
Hi, Sarah. Hi, lovely. Oh, yeah, we could actually that I've always fancied slapping my thighs and swashbuckling across the stage, because when my masculine side is up, it's very masculine and I quite like it. I could fall in love with myself.
That sounds really good. Anyway, let's talk about your epiphanies or magical moments. Because it was your suggestion, Jay, wasn't it?
It was great.
It was your suggestion, wasn't it, to talk about magical
Yeah,
epiphanies and
it kind of
magical
was.
moments and
The
whatnot?
year has been up and down and all over the place. As we know, we've had CMEs, retrogrades, we've had all kinds of celestial, astrological whatnot's going on, and it's been throwing people for a loop. And so many
can I just in that lovely little intro, can I just wedge in, if you're wondering about astrology, and you're wondering about how how January might go, I've just posted my January updates for 2024. So it's a little bit early. I know we're still in December, but I want to have a bit of a break. So got it done early. So go on.
Fantastic. Okay. Yay, go see Louisa's thing now. Listen to me first.
Yeah. Come on. Go on then.
So, with that said, I've been feeling a bit, well, we've all been feeling all over the place, and a few weeks ago, Kim and I don't know if you know, there's a little bit of a backstory. I won't go on too much, but we moved house.
You moved
5 years.
house? Oh, I was going to say,
5 years
it's got the same wallpaper.
Yeah. No, 5 years ago we moved to this current house here, which is beautiful. But we loved the other house, but we had some problems with neighbours, which, were quite bad enough for us to need to move. So, we moved from the dream house and we moved down here to another little dream cottage, but we had to massively downsize. Because we just didn't have the space in this one, as lovely as it was, to fit all our stuff. So we had to get rid of a load of stuff and also pack a load of stuff away, which we've got loads of outbuildings here, like big old-fashioned farm outbuilding things. So we just said, well, what we can't get in the house, we'll put in there and we'll sort out later. Well, of course, as things go, you don't ever sort it out, do you? So
Carl's sniggering in the background, by the way.
he needs to. Listen up, Mr. Munson. Anyway, so Kim, bless him, he's working as well. And, so this time has gone past and it's been a bit of a drag, at some points, and it's been great at others. Anyway, the whole point is I've been feeling lately that, bit antsy because I love entertaining people. I'm a
Yeah.
bit of an introvert, as much as you might not think that. But when I do have people around, I really like to push the boat out. I love to get the dining table out. I love to have games and all the rest of it. And in the old house, we used to have Ben coming over, our lovely Ben,
Yeah.
and Colette, and we had my daughter Anna and her boyfriend at the time, and who she's now married to. And we had all these people over. We seemed to have a house full. It was full of laughter and fun and joy. And we used to go outside at night and look at the stars because it was right on the top of a mountain. So all these magical, wonderful things. Kim and I were just very playful, you know. So roll forward to moving into this house. It felt as if, looking back, we kind of had to go right, really downsize in every way, shape, and form, including in ourselves. So, you know, I suddenly realized that, hang on, we've been in this house a while. Nobody visits us. Nobody comes here. You know, it's a nice house and it's got lots of ground around it and it's isolated. It's detached, literally detached. And I noted that and I thought, wow, what's going on? Next thing, I said to hubby, we need to put the Christmas tree lights on the big tree outside of the window. And he said, oh, well, I trimmed it last summer. He said, and I don't know where I've put the lights. Because he'd had a big clear out at one stage in one of the garages, we hunted high and low, could not find these lights. And I said, I can't believe it. I said, I bet you've thrown, of course, I always accuse him. It's always
That's
his fault.
exactly what I do with Carl, actually.
Yeah, because
He's
they
nodding.
they do this stuff, don't they? And I said, do you know what? I bet you've thrown it out without realizing. And I was trying not to be judgmental, but feeling very, you swine, I'm going to kill you. And look,
do you want to join us? He's giggling in the background.
I know, I can hear him, bless him. What really got me was it was like I was really obsessed with the lights, trying to find the light. And I was trying to find these lights and I couldn't find them. And I suddenly was like in child mode. I was like, but I want my lights. I love my lights. My lights are important to me. So then as usual, I go, well, I'll buy some more. And Kim's like, that's your answer to everything. Buy something else. I'm like, well, if you've lost them. Anyway, you know, the argument ensued. So I'll go in the house and forget about it. And we couldn't find them. Anyway, about a week later, I decided that I wanted to, you know, have one last ditch attempt at looking for these lights. So we went outside into the outbuildings and started trawling through. I don't know how many years worth of stuff that was in there. You know, I've got stuff packed away. And as we're trawling through, Kim's hauling out all the furniture and baskets of all sorts, you know, putting it on the pavement. And I'm going, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I suddenly stopped and said, oh, you know, as you do, I'm like, oh, look at this. I'd forgotten I'd got this. And I'm going, I'm finding all these things. And at the very bottom of an old, moldy old box, because it's damp and moldy out there, this moldy old box was this amazing thing. And it was my little plastic magic wand. I haven't got it with me because this
Was that the one you had on last show?
That was the one I had.
Making all those noises.
I told you about that. Yeah, that was it. So I found that wand. And because I pressed the button and it actually went bling. First time in 5 years, I was like a child. I was like I don't know. I was like a kid on overdose of sweets. I was dancing around the garden and I found my magic. I found my magic. Oh my God, my magic wand. I didn't care about any of the other stuff. And I just danced around with this magic wand. And I remember somebody saying to me once when I used to do the old Solomon thing, I used to take the wand with me and I'd wave it over the audience and go, right, we're going to have some magic tonight. And a girlfriend of mine said, who used to see energy, she said, every time you do that, I can actually see golden sparkles go across your head. And I said, wow. I believe that that's happening. So I said, maybe it really is, you know, the magic wand, Sarah. So that was the wand bit. So I'm dancing around the garden, really happy. Then I go into the other garage and start looking at stuff, thinking, what else is in here that I've forgotten about? And I uncovered all of our games and books and all sorts of things that we used to have all our magic and fun with at the old house. And I took them all out. And obviously we can't use them anymore because they've gone all moldy and and there's loads of them.
Yeah.
And I just looked and I just went in the garden and I wept. And I just said to Kim, I went in the kitchen and he was in there making a cup of bye now because he's had enough. And I just looked at him and I just broke down and sobbed. And he went, oh my God, darling, what's the matter? And I said, we lost our magic. We had to box away our joy. We had to box away our fun. We literally had to put ourselves into a box because of those people. And we had to come down here and it's all gone. I said, nobody visits us here. The magic's gone. We just don't have it anymore. Anyway, he just looked at me and he said, it hasn't gone. He said, we've found it again. And I said, well, we need to resurrect this magic. And, it was just such a huge epiphany. And about a week later, I went to a girlfriend's house and I took my wand because she knew about this thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
when I found, oh my God. And it was her birthday and another friend's birthday. And I'd made them a cake. And I took my magic wand and I was full of magic and joy and child and everything. And I said, I'm the birthday fairy. I'm going to bring you magic. And I went to do this with wand and it had died. The battery had died. And it was as if you'd taken my heart away. And I didn't say anything at the time because they didn't know. And I just went, oh, the battery must have gone, but actually the wand has died. I mean, it's that old, it's finally given up. On that one day, and for a couple of days after that, it was fine. So I come home and I say to Kim, my wand's died. Oh my God, maybe it was just all a dream. Maybe I'm not magic at all. And then he just looked at me and he went, the magic's not in the wand, Jay. You're the magic. It's in you. And I just burst into tears and sobbed. And I went, you're right. It is. And it did something to me, Louisa. And it was like in that moment, I realized all the things that we put away, of maybe bad people or bad circumstances, or we forget that we are the magic and it only ever gets buried. And it's like the light is always there inside of us, but we just maybe have to do a bit of digging sometimes. And suddenly, like I'm tingling all over now, but it
I'm
changed.
crying in case you can't see the tears.
Honestly, I was about a week when I had this epiphany and I thought, oh my God, you can't kill magic. You can't. And another little thing was this week, it was our grandchildren's nativities and various things at school. And we go to Bo's nativity and it was off the scale. I mean, if you want to get in touch with magic ever and joy and fun, go to the kids' nativity, as I think I said on Facebook, because they are so unadulteratedly, if that's a word, just unashamedly just themselves. They don't care that they can't get their words right or their lines right. They're just having fun. And they don't care that there are little children on there that are a bit autistic and have got to wear things. They just all get in there. And I just cry every time. Loads of tissues. So home and we're chatting away and I was saying to Bo, so what's Santa going to bring you? And he said, and he's playing on his game at the time and he's going, he doesn't exist.
I missed that last line you said because you broke up.
Evie, who's 11, was in the kitchen.
You're breaking up, Jay.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't miss. What was his response while he was playing on his Game Boy?
So his response was, as I said to him, what's Santa bringing? And he just looked at me like with disdain and said, he doesn't exist, Granny. And I looked at him and Evie was in the kitchen. She's 11 and still believes. And she said, Bo, what are you talking about? And I said, well, what do you mean, Bowie? What do you mean? I said, Santa, well, who brings you presents? And he said, think about it, Granny. How can a 2,000-year-old man get round every house in one night? He's too old. He's like you. And I said, oh, well, what about magic? And he went, well, magic's not real, is it? He said, magic isn't real. He said, and he was so pragmatic about it at 7 years old. And my heart broke. And I was like, oh, but, and I thought at that point, I can't actually tell him he's wrong because he's
right.
He's right for him.
So he's right about Santa, isn't he?
He is. And I said to him, Bo, I said, do you know what? I said, absolutely, I get what you're saying. I said, and Evie's going, no, I believe. And then, of course, Anna's in this dilemma of, oh, my God, I've two children and they're going to hate me, And it's just this whole thing. But then I realized we live in a world of illusion. We really do. We're all magicians. We are the magicians. And this magic thing that we have inside of us. And I said to Bo, you know what, Bo? I said, maybe magic does exist, but not in the way that you think it does.
Great
And
comeback.
yeah,
You pulled a blinder there.
he just said, maybe. And I left it at that. I thought, I'm not going to try and convince him. He's right. He's 70. He's more wine. And that was it. And I just realized that we carry that magic within us. And the world is an illusion, all of it. Whether it's devastation or beauty or whatever it is, we're living in an illusional world. And I don't know about you, but just lately, I'm feeling and seeing that more and more. And I'm having to hold on to the magic within me in order to get through every day and go, no, that and it's not being unrealistic. I'm not going to, look at the world. It's just, I believe in something good. I believe, it's like the old I believe in it. I believe in everything I see. And it just feels like we have to actually have that touchstone inside, this little magical star inside of us that is still there, that we recognize. And it doesn't matter what the world of illusion says, or what's going on out there that throws us off balance. Stay true to the magic within you, because it truly does exist. And miracles do happen, and they may not come in form that you are told that they'll come in, and they may not come in the form that you've actually asked for, but they always happen every single time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty magical, I think.
Yeah, that's show-stopping. Got a couple of comments from Sarah. I'm just trying to compose myself. She's saying, "What a great life partner you have," and she's like, "That's her crying." Like I was crying. I think she's crying at the same time. At the beautiful story there.
Wow.
And then she says, "And what a great life partner you are." I mean, you were
Thank
there for yourselves and for each other in quite a smart way. I mean, I was thinking that in terms of your lovely man, Kim. I mean, what a great thing to recognize that the magic is within you and to be able to share that with you at just the right time.
And to be honest, we go through, as most couples do, our ups and downs. We've been married 17 years now. And that was quite magical how that happened. But even so, it's like he's very quiet. He's the quiet one in the background. I'm the one, I'm the gregarious, magnanimous, whatever. And I'm always moaning at him. You never give anything to anyone. It's always me that has to do everything. And yet, just when it's needed, that pearl of wisdom will just pop out, and it'll just be, I could have said 20 million words and he'll come out with one and it'll just nail it, Yeah. And for me that day, him saying that to me just brought me straight back in. It was like the magic wand. I heard it inside of me go, ding, I'm still here. And it was amazing. And I just thought, because I was frantically thinking, I've got to find another one. I'll never find another one. It's not the same sound. And then I thought, it doesn't matter, because when you are magic, when you get in touch with that magician within you, and that whoever it is, Glinda the Good Witch, whoever, and you speak from that point in your heart, magic automatically goes out on a frequency like a magic wand. It really truly does, and it touches the heart of everyone. I've had this happen so many times, even just standing in a queue, talking to someone and telling them something, or having the courage to actually let that little magic spark pop out of your mouth. It might just be, you look beautiful today. I did this with a lady in Tesco the other week, and she nearly fell over a trolley.
Did you know her? Did you know her, or you just like stopped and said?
I had no idea who she was. I just saw this beautiful woman. I've
done that as well.
Yeah, it's lovely. And I said, excuse me. And she looked at me as if, well, I went, do you mind if I just tell you, you look really beautiful today? I said, I love your clothes. Your makeup looks fantastic. You look amazing. And you've inspired me. And she just burst into tears. And I was like, oh, let you cry.
What did she say after she cried? We
just went, this is magic. You don't stay with it. It's like, don't hold on to it. Let it go and then walk away. because she
Pass
didn't
it
need any more than that. And I didn't need any more than that. We didn't need to prolong the agony. We didn't need to milk it. We just needed the magic spark, and we needed the seed to go in. And I was listening to something this morning on YouTube that Veda Austin, who's one of my heroes at the moment,
Yeah.
you know, her and Pam Gregory, Veda Austin had put this picture of this beautiful tree that had appeared in the ice. And what she was
Wow.
telling was a story of a dream the night before, where she felt like she was in the earth and she couldn't get out. And suddenly she felt she was being lifted out. And when she came out, she was sitting in the branches of this beautiful, sacred mother tree. And mother said, "It's okay, I've got you. Don't quote me on this, but I'll send you the link. It's so beautiful."
Yeah, please do.
And she said, "Don't quote me." She said, and she said, "I found myself sitting on this tree on the branch." And she said, "And the mother just said to me, I'm the mother tree, I'm sacred, and you are my child, and your name is Seed." And then she jumped off the tree and began her life. And I just cried. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, that is what we do every time we seed something magical or beautiful or from within us, and that seed out there in the world, where it's done. That's what happens, and that seed blossoms and grows. Wherever it goes, that is a part of us that's gone into them that they take forward with them. Just my idea, but I think that's quite magical, you know.
It really, really is.
Yeah.
So nice. Oh, I'm actually feeling quite tearful for so many different reasons in so many different ways. It's so lovely. Sarah's saying it sounds familiar. I think that came in around the time when you were saying how quiet Kim is, but then all of a sudden he pipes up with something and nails it. Sarah's got a lovely husband, Dan, that's very much like that.
Imagine that he and Kim would get on like a house on fire, Sarah, your husband and mine. They're probably very similar, because we are, I think.
Yeah.
And they're
Wow.
usually very quiet, aren't they? Look, just like Carl, you know, in the background there.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what dynamic Carl and I have. Like, I don't know if either of us are I'm quieter, but I don't know if either of us are particularly that quiet.
You're both alchemists. You're alchemists of change. Yeah.
Carl's just saying he's looking for some help for his shyness.
For shyness. Oh,
Yeah,
sweetheart.
he's
I'll
looking
tell you
for
what,
shyness.
I've got some advice for you, Carl. Go and put that blonde wig on and those orange violate boots. And go out into the world with the music.
Oh, if only, you know, we still had those boots, he probably would. We've got a hello. We've got a hello from Gillian. She's joining us, catching up on double time now. Gillian, we're talking about the sort of like magic that comes up, and Jay was just sharing such a lovely, touching story. And the amazing thing about your story, Jay, I think, is that it's an everyday experience that most people have had. You know, I'm pretty sure there are loads of partners out there that are groused at their partner and said, "You lock that in the garage," and then you do go into this kind of storehouse of your old memories, and it's a very touching and moving thing to do, isn't it?
Well,
You
I
know,
think
to rooting around things.
Also, you're going back into your past and you're going into things that you wish to resurrect from the past. And I realized, and I said to Kim, "Well, the games, we can't play the games now because they've gone." And he went, "We'll get new games. We'll create new memories." And I suddenly thought, oh yeah, he simplifies everything. But do you know what? The beautiful thing is, about a week ago now, this has all happened about probably in the last 4 to 6 weeks. And the funny thing was, I was looking for something in my craft room, which is an absolute mess at the moment. It's I do all my stuff. It's my creative space, but it's a mess. But I love it like that. And so I go in there the other day and I wanted to find something to make something for Christmas for the kids or whatever, you know. And I'm rootling around behind this big old box, and suddenly what do I see?
Your lights?
A great roll with the lights around it. And I went, yeah, right, tell him. Anyway.
Did you tell him?
"You need to come up and see something." And he got all panicky thinking I wanted something else, you know.
So is your tree out front now all bejeweled with lights?
Yes, it absolutely is. And he looked at me and he went, "I knew I'd put them somewhere." And I said, "Well, the weird thing is now I've seen them." I said, "I've got a feeling it was me that put them there." And they were down the back of something, but they were wrapped in Kim's style, because I would have just chucked them there. He would wrap them very neatly around the pole and then put them somewhere. So I found the light again. But isn't it interesting at the end of that story that the light I was seeking, I thought I'd lost, and I found the light again. And it was all me. Yeah.
That's such a message for everyone right now.
Magic is every day. It's not little moments that happen on the stage when the wizard comes on. It's happening all around us in everyday moments, just like the ones I've been talking about today. It's like, it's just life happening to us. But when we stop for a second, and I could have just, had I been more muggle-minded, as we say, I probably would have just gone, oh, well, it's coincidence, But I know with everything in me, because I am a magical person, and I always have been, and I love magical things. I believe with all my heart that all these things are out there, and they do, and as I'm sitting here now, this is going to sound crazy, but I feel all these little elementals have popped into the room, and they're all jumping up and down. Remember that movie Labyrinth, where she thinks she's lost all the creatures, and they're suddenly in her bedroom with her? I'm sitting here surrounded by elementals and fairies and gnomes and all of these beautiful creatures, and they're all there saying, we do exist, and you do believe. And it's like Tinkerbell saying, I believe, yes, she comes to life. She comes to life because you believe. Your magic comes to life because you believe that you're magical, and you can do these amazing things when you're in touch with your heart and your source and the purity and divinity of just innocence. And that buzzword, authenticity.
We've spoken a lot about that on this show. We've got a really great question from Sarah that's come in. What possibility, magic, and miracles can we create today by sending our essence out to play? I love that. It's a rhyme as well. What possibility, magic, and miracles can we create today by sending our essence out to play?
Oh, my little people here are dancing in joy. I can feel them all around me. Thank you, Sarah. And the funny thing is, going back to my good old mate Linda Goodman years ago, she talks about the word druids, who I work with a lot and have done in my writing. And they're like elementals.
The word druids?
The word druids, yes.
What, druids of words?
She talks about the word druids. They're elementals connected with words and the language.
Oh, wow.
And how they seed within plain sight magical mysteries, which, if you look at a word, you can often see sort of within the word, there's some other word. And there's a lot. I mean, this is a whole other show, really. But, the word druids, and it's like they're dancing around as well, because when they speak to me and to anyone, when you are in tune with them, they speak in rhyme. And so, I always feel that when pantomime is on the stage and they speak in rhymes, obviously, it's like, oh, where is Princess so-and-so today? Oh, she's gone out to play, just like Sarah said. There's a reason that happens, because the magic of rhyming and rhythm is all to do with sacred frequencies and sound and all of those things. So you think about it, a pantomime is just a play devised from someone's imagination. Magi. There's the magic word again. Imagination. It's put onto the stage, but seeded within that story are sprinkles of magic and wisdom. And we sometimes don't get it. And sometimes afterwards we go, oh my God, I know what that really meant, because it's multi-layered. Magic and wisdom is multi-layered according to where you're at in your frequency. You can tap into all of them at any one stage, but you've got to have done the work. You've got to do the dig. You've got to go into the garage and root out the old stuff, throw out the old stuff,
Yeah, that's such a layered approach, isn't it? Going through your garage. It's interesting you're saying that, because I'm a fan of homeopathy, and I remember early on in my visits to see a beloved homeopath. I haven't seen him for ages, obviously, because we're over here, and it's not quite the same working remotely. But I mean, he felt like a shaman to me, like a shaman of homeopathy, I guess, and energies. but he was really talking that a lot of the homeopathic remedies kind of tie into a lot of the magic and mystery and the myths. And like in astrology, I use the myths, mainly like goddess and god myths, because they often have named asteroids, and they're sort of particular characters. But all stories carry a vibration. And he was talking about, I can't remember which one it was. I think Staphysagria, like one of these homeopathic remedies, and talking about the key archetypes and characters that show up in your life. So, for instance, he was talking about the whole story of the evil stepmother, and then the godmother. And the innocent children that get lost on their journey, the man, the hero of the piece. There are so many set pieces that are really, I think, giving us the chance to weave our own magic by understanding things. Like if you think about the stepmom or the evil stepmom or the evil mother-in-law, there's this really kind of nasty feminine in the stories often. But then there is the beautiful Jay, like you, like beautiful fairy godmother character who is twinkling. She's got her wand, and she uses words. And what you were talking about, rhythm as well. So I don't, like when I'm working, I don't tend to get so much into rhyme, but there's a certain rhythm that comes out when I know that maybe those word druids that you talk about are working with me, because
definitely
you can recognize it, can't you? All of a sudden there is cadence, there's a tone, there's a rhythm.
Absolutely.
Spelling, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a reason that you think about that word when we spell things out. Spell magic spells. Spelling it's the word. Clues in the word, folks.
I mean, it's fun because like being a bit of a closet conspiracy theorist, or I mean, that's probably an older version of me, to be fair, but I have looked into some of the double meanings of the words.
Yes.
And been quite shocked actually at the English language and how we've got all these different words hidden in. So for instance, lots of people say good morning, but actually think, what does mourning, like mourning's about mourning, like grieving. And people talk about weekdays, that you're in a weekdays during the week when you're at work. And at the weekend, you're weakened. And I was like, oh my God, our language is working against.
Absolutely. Well, again, Linda Goodman, who talks about who I first found out about these things through in the 70s, she mentions this as well. And it's like seeded within the English language only. It's not in any other language. The word druids only work in ancient English. And I don't know this. I mean, I've got no way of checking either. But according to her, it is the oldest language on the planet. Now, I don't know, because I know we talk about Aramaic and
Sanskrit, and
so it doesn't logically to me. I don't know enough about it, but from what she says and how she says it, and how I've personally experienced the word druids working with me, it makes a lot of sense, because the only language that this stuff is seeded into is English. Now, English, if you think about it, is the most kind of, I think I'm right in saying, everywhere you go in the world, you'll find somebody that speaks English.
Pretty much,
but you don't go everywhere in the world and find somebody that speaks, say, Portuguese or.
Although that's the fourth. Is Portuguese still the fourth biggest language? We sometimes look to see. I don't know if English is, or is it Chinese? I have to do a bit of research on that.
Yeah, maybe that's that. I'm not that well traveled, so I don't really know that.
No, but I mean, you're right. I mean, it takes up a lot of bandwidth. The English language takes up so much bandwidth. So in like, I've been living in different countries since I was like 18, and back then there were, I would have to practice the language of the country that I was in. But now you don't have to at all, because everybody just speaks everyone else's language. Like everyone speaks English. Oh, we're joined by Rob. Rob's joining us. That's great.
Oh, wonderful.
Hey, Rob, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, hello. Sorry about
It's absolutely fine. I wasn't sure if you're going to come, or whether I'd created a bit of a Mercury retrograde kind of confusion thing with. We were talking about word druids and how language is seeded, and all sorts of different things. And Jay's been talking about magical epiphanies. This is a conversation that's going in all sorts of directions.
All right.
How are you anyway? You're sounding a bit coldy.
Yeah.
Seeing as you're late to the party, I hope you brought the champagne.
Yeah. Yeah, we're okay. We're a little bit hectic in our family at the moment, so we're just sort of going from one disaster to the next. So
Really?
yeah,
Oh, sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's one of them.
We'll have to catch up offline, maybe.
Yeah.
So we were talking about
someone who needs a bit of magic in his life. Definitely, we can do this.
Good.
I am convinced, honestly, whatever anybody's going through, and when you come, and we've got the magical 3, and by the power of 3 invested in me, I declare and decree that you shall have some magic come to you today.
Thanks, Jay. We've also been talking about pantomimes as well. So all sorts of different things have been coming up. Rob, sorry to throw you right into the conversation, but like what magic are you aware of? Like, you're obviously in the deep in Scotland, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are there many magical traditions that you're aware of that have impacted you?
Oh my God.
Because I mean, you live also very close to the land as well.
Oh, that's
yeah.
magical.
Oh, geez. Oh, you've just caught me. You've caught me there.
Well, I mean, I could ask Jay because she's also in Wales, so I could ask her about Welsh ones as well. But I recognise you live in the magic of nature a lot of the time, don't you?
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, there's black magic in nature happening at the moment, and it's the physical manifestation of it is our wind turbines getting put up everywhere and destroying the beauty of our country. So I think that's black magic that's going on here, which bothers me a little bit because I appreciate the beauty of where I live, but and we're coming up to New Year. So in Scotland, they never used to celebrate Christmas very much at all. Christmas was, I don't think, in fact, I don't think you even got a day off work for Christmas, or you might have got a half day off work for Christmas. But
Wow.
for the new year, you had 2 or 3 days off work, because they celebrated the new year. So I suppose that's I'm not sure if it's magical, but it's more in tune with nature, or more in tune with sort of the rhythms. It's not been sort of aligned with a religion sort of thing, so but no, I'm perhaps not the right person to be asking about magic. I'm a little bit not science minded, but my wife says I'm not, I'm not so sensitive to magical
The
things like
subtle energies.
yeah.
That's great because Rob's like I was saying, Bo, my 7-year-old grandson, the other day said to me, "Granny, there isn't a Santa," and I was like, nearly fell over. I'm like, because I mean, again, I've grown up in the era where everybody knew about Santa. I don't believe in it myself, obviously, but I do believe in magical things happening, not in the way that magic is kind of portrayed, or the illusion of it. But at the same time, it's like, and I had to acknowledge that he's a pragmatic sort of kid, He's not into fairies and all the rest of it like Evie was, and like I was. He's into trucks and building things and how things come apart, and he's very much in the head, which is fantastic because we need people like that, because people like you create magic in different other ways for other people to enjoy. You live in the most amazing place, Rob, and you are surrounded by trees, and you can probably make things out of wood that other people have got no idea how to do. That's
Are you channeling that, Jay?
well, no, I don't know.
Sounded like
tingling. But again, I am in a way, because it's like I'm tingling, and it's like I want to say to you, some people work with the magical universe and they're unawares. It's like what's that old saying? That be therefore be ever something of strangers, for thereby many have entertained angels unawares. And I think that's what you do, Rob. I think what you do, and in the environment in which you live and work with your family, it's I'm feeling it now. I really am. It's like you are magical, but you're not. You're magical in a practical way, a grounded, down to earth wizard. And I see you working with Merlin energy. I know that sounds a bit weird to you, but you're working with energies of Merlin, which is absolutely grounded, and it's very, very earthy and very ancient. And so you tune into ancient wisdom and you channel that through the work that you do with the wood, and the wood appreciates you totally. The wood loves you, and it feels and feels
that's quite good. Yeah, that's quite good.
I don't know, by the
No,
way,
I did.
what you do.
I did get 27 tons of wood delivered, and
That's not
I've turned it into I've turned it into a well, it's not quite finished yet, but it's going to be. We're going to homeschool, and so I've
wow.
turned it into a lovely sort of chalet, sort of with a nice view, sort of
Oh my God.
yeah, so that we can stay sheltered from the storm in a safe
Yeah.
place.
Fantastic.
As my son, doesn't hopefully avoid too much of the grooming and stuff, and just get him get him straight and narrow, get him walking down the straight and narrow before, So yeah, it's funny you talk about wood, because I bought a big sawmill, and I'll be cutting up into trying to make some kind of not house, but it's quite a big shed, if you understand. It's a big thing. But,
God.
Well done, you guys. Jay, you're on fire today. Rob, I just want to ask you, actually, before I do, I just want to acknowledge we've got some other people watching. So we've got T-Duck watching, and we were talking about language just before you came on, and he said he's given us the most popular languages in order currently. Chinese is first, Spanish is second, English is third. Then we've got Arabic, Hindi, Bengali, Portuguese is seventh in the list right now. I'm pretty sure a few years ago it was like fourth. So things are really changing, but it's fascinating. Owen saying hello, my lovelies. Lots to late to class. Will watch from the start later. Sarah saying nobody can resist the magic. And I wanted to ask you, Rob, you've got your beautiful young lad and you've got your family, and how do you, I really hear what you're saying about sort of insulating him a little bit. Well, not insulating him, but keeping him on the straight and narrow before the world gets its claws in him.
Exactly.
How do you navigate things like Christmas? Because, it's interesting what you were talking about, Jay, in terms of Evie and I've forgotten your grandson's name already. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry.
What's your approach there, Rob?
Well, I'm kind of middle of the road. I mean, I don't want to get extreme about my feelings. I kind of just let the boat sail itself, but I try to make it. I think the best thing about Christmas is the time, and the family and doing things together, and it gets turned into sort of toys too much, doesn't it? We're all sort of being prodded and persuaded by every media outlet to be buying. Christmas is, you got, to make a child happy, he's got to have something that he's been made to want by somebody. So I don't know. I'm just middle of the road. I mean, I think Christmas is a good time. Stressful for us at the moment, but it's suddenly taken a massive turn for the mild. So I don't know if there's any meaning behind that. Why it's we've had a cold spell and now it's gotten quite warm. So don't know if there's any magical reason behind that, or is it just the chemtrails or whatever? I don't know what it is, but
there's a lot of CMEs going on at the moment, and absolutely geomagnetic storms and all sorts off from the sun that apparently haven't happened since 2017. And I think that point of view, that's going on, and I think that's bound to affect us, So maybe that's what it is, you know, nothing magical at all, really, but that's quite, you know,
I'm really sort of skeptical about everything we're told about the weather and like sudden drops and this, that, and the other, because I do think we are in a bit of a cold spell here in Portugal, but you know, like it was 2 degrees, I think, last night in central Portugal, and it was a little bit sort of warmer here, but it actually felt like it was like -2, because obviously we've lost our acclimatization to the UK temperatures. And we, like Carl saying, oh, we must let the dogs in, they're going to freeze to death. And I was thinking, oh, it's probably not frozen, but like our version of frozen was happening last night, which is kind of unusual. But I mean, we never see ground frost.
It's all over the place. I don't think it knows what's happening at the moment. You know, the planet's just in disarray. And it's various things. I think, you know, chemtrails come into it. There's all kinds of nefarious stuff going on. There's also just weather and the way that it goes anyway. And you just don't know what to believe. And I think people are being thrown into. And the reason I think that some of us, reach out to the magical side is because we have to keep hoping and believing. It's like we've got to keep thinking that there's something good going to come out of all of this, because it's been so dark in so many places, and there's so many things that we could focus on that are quite dark, and if we choose not to, we have to hang on to something. And I guess, you know, for some people it's the magical stuff, and others it's practical.
I think I mean magical way of living is a great thing, because at the end of the day we're all just believing anyway. I mean, a lot of us delude ourselves into thinking that we know, but we don't really. You know, even, you know, the basic foundations of what we thought was true and sort of factual in life are don't seem to be. But when they go under, when you start sort of examining them and looking at the proof behind them, actually no. I mean, I'm really big at the moment on, is the Earth flat or round? Right? I mean, that's to me, that's a practical problem. I've got a 3-year-old. He's just going to be 4-year-old on the 3rd of January. So I'm going to get you can get these quite cheap digital telescopes now, but for about 40-50 quid you can buy one that'll magnify about 100 times or something, and they're quite stable. So we've done the calculations, and we've got all these places where there's water, you know, so we're going to go, and when he's a bit older, part of his first year at primary school, in the shed, he's probably going to be discovering he's probably going to be doing experiments to see how round the Earth is and how stuff like that.
Brilliant.
I love the fact that you're going to do that. You're going to be checking like the curvature and if there is a curve or not.
Yeah, but
that's fantastic.
And in the broader context, it's because for the first time in my life, I'm starting to question things that I just assumed was true.
Yeah.
And when I look outside in where I live, and it's quite, I can't see anyone else. Well, there's a house about half a mile over that way, and then apart from that, there's nobody else, right? Nature's true. You just got to look out there, and you can just see that everything we're told about it is probably a lot of rubbish.
Yeah.
But what I actually look out and see is true, you know, and it's hard to sort of peer yourself out of everything you've been told and look at what actually is there.
Yeah.
And sort of see the truth, the rhythms of nature. And you know, I hear the deer. They're finished, they're gone over now, but a couple of months ago you could hear all the deer calling, the stags calling and fighting to try and get as many.
That's amazing. Yeah. That sound. It's very
and
isn't it? Yeah.
I think, do you know, I mean, now that you got me on a roll with it,
I love it. Go on.
I suppose really, why can't Christmas be about that? You know, why can't Christmas be about actually appreciating what actually is here, wherever you are, and not what we're told is here or what we're made to believe that we want here.
Exactly.
You know, it's like, does appreciation have to be selective? Do you know, like, do you have to be told what to appreciate before you can be happy?
Absolutely.
Do you have to have a new car, or do you have to have, I don't know, whatever we're told.
Yeah, because
But
none of this make you happy. I was saying earlier on before you came on, Rob, that I look around me and everything's an illusion. Everything. The only
yeah,
thing that's real is what I feel in my heart. That's what I
yeah,
call the magic in me, and that's real. And like you say, you look at the trees and you look at the lakes and the water and the stars,
yeah,
and you look at the wonder of that. And whether it's flat, round, or square, I don't really care either way. But and I don't mind what anybody else thinks either. Fine if
yeah,
none of us can really prove it. But at the end of the day, when you see the magic of the heavens and the stars, and you just look at stuff and you think, wow, I'm in the middle of all this. This is brilliant, you know.
yeah,
And one thing I will say, I found once a friend of ours passed away very, very suddenly, and he was very young. And the very year he always celebrated, not Thanksgiving, what is it? Yuletide, the pagan thing, rather than Christmas, which I much prefer as well. And
yeah,
and he celebrated that. Now, a couple of days prior to that year that he died, in I think it was the May or June, in Peru, in the Sacred Valley. He fell off a mountain, God love him. And that year we were chopping wood outside, and I was thinking about Harry, this friend, and Kim was chopping the wood and ready for the wood burner. And we came across this piece of oak, and he sawed it down the middle. And it was 2 days before Yuletide was, or whenever it is, I think I don't even know what date it is, but whatever it was Yule was due to begin. And this piece of wood, I kid you not, in the middle of it, only in the middle of it, not the other side. We don't know how it happened, but there was an H in the middle in
Wow.
that wood. And we just looked, and I went, oh my God, it's Harry. And it was oak, and oak was his wood. Now,
Wow.
I was guided to take this piece of wood and find it. Harry came to me and said, can you take this to my parents to let them know where I am? And I'm still here. And I didn't know his parents. I'd never met them. I hardly knew him. And I had to go and find them and take this piece of wood and then tell them. I mean, God, it must have sounded like a
That's an
racist.
interesting conversation. Jenny.
But that to me was the magic of wood, So, it's all around us wherever we look. And the appreciation of that beautiful piece of wood that connected me with somebody who'd passed over with his parents, who needed to know he was still it's the circle of life, isn't it? It's that continuation of something beautiful and wonderful.
I'm really loving this appreciation, and right now I'm going to just appreciate some of the comments coming in, because we got loads of comments coming in, people saying yeah or no and blah blah blah. So T Duck's just saying to Owen, miss you mate, we need to get together soon. And T Duck, I'm missing you as well. Where are you, man? We need to catch up soon. Gillian saying, read The Disruption of the Land. Heard yesterday that the spaceport on Shetland was approved. They have built, it is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Let's start dematerializing some of these things. Interesting. Did you know about that, Rob? I'm guessing.
No, I don't know about that, but they're supposed to be building something to do with the space project, whatever that is. Okay, here as well on the north coast, a place called Tongue. It's a beautiful place, but again, I've no idea really.
No,
I'm
I've got
open-minded with it.
Yeah, yeah, me too. I've come to question that as well. Sarah said, it's flat everywhere I step on it. And she said, what I love right now is how much we are forced to feel what is true. The brainwashing is so visible now, the biggest cult in existence.
Absolutely.
Gillian is saying, I'm still 4 minutes behind, but will sometime be in... oh God, I need to put glasses on, but we'll be at the same time as you in a couple of minutes. She's saying, yes, re-switching off mind programming. Carl saying, well said, Rob, the matrix is glitching, or we can just turn it down off for ourselves. Sarah saying, and it's amazing how much I'm seeing my own brainwashing. And Gillian is also saying, it's as if they have to keep the pantomime going. Oh, no, they don't. It's interesting. Because, about, crikey, it was when we were still in the UK. So about 8 years ago, I suddenly fell down into a flat earth rabbit hole and started to have it dawn on me that maybe the earth is flat. And then I started going back to my feelings as a child, and I remember always like really feeling very, very grounded and feeling that the earth isn't moving, noticing that the clouds all kind of just noticing that we were absolutely stationary. That was my experience as a child. And I remember trying to kind of stellate the earth, you know, like kind of build it in my head. And I could never understand how, if everything had a curve to it, that buildings and mountains and like, how could they have this shape when everything is kind of pushed out? I just couldn't visualize it. It didn't make sense to me.
They can't, but they can't have that shape, and it's actually a very, very surprisingly big curve or small curve. It's
apparently
it's 8 inches per mile squared, which it's like over 2 miles. That's 2 times 2 is 4 times 8, 4 eighths. What's that? 32 inches.
Yeah.
Or in 10 miles, the curvature is massive, right?
Yeah.
And you can pick that up with a telescope. So it's either is or isn't. So I'm very keen to get out there with, hopefully Santa will get me this, and I'll be able to attach my little mobile phone to it and get somebody else on my wife's mobile phone, and with a torch or something, you know, at the other side of it's an estuary, right?
Yeah.
So he'll be at the other end of the estuary shining this beam of light at me, and I'll be seeing if I can see him.
Yes.
And witnessing whether it's flat or round. So,
I mean, I've seen so many experiments where people have used like a level light, and they're like working on a level to see if there's a dip or not. And in those experiments, it looks very, very flat.
no, it does. No.
But like in recent times, what I've come to realize is it might not be flat or round. It could be something else entirely.
So, you know,
yeah, I mean, every time I focus, like every time I sort of deep dive into different things, I then realize, well, maybe that is also BS. Because one of my more recent deep dives that's been going on for about like 2 years or so has been about gender inversion, not necessarily people changing gender in the middle of their lives, but the fact that, you know, maybe there are groups of people who are not naturally, but who are choosing to invert as part of a culture. And that's been, you know, like I've been kind of like led there step by step. And all of a sudden I'm thinking, well, hang on, if that's true and that's true, then, oh my God, like, you know, when you start to investigate something and learn about things, it takes you down some really big alleys. And then you have to question everything that you've ever known. So my most recent sort of like understanding is just I know nothing. And the only thing I can do is just go deep inside and know who I am and absolutely trust myself. It's shocking.
Well, another sort of deep self-knowing that you could get is that you know nothing, but also that everything you do know is might not be right.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, I know nothing, but something has put all prior to me knowing nothing.
Yeah.
I thought I knew everything, and somebody put that into my head.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? That's I think that's what I'm. Because well, obviously, if the world is flat, it raises some pretty big questions, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Very much. But it's just a reflection on how brainwashable we are, because it's frighteningly true that we as a species, if you want to, you know, if that's where we're a species, at least from an evolutionary point, from a perspective of, if you're a creationist, well, that's I don't know what the answer to that is, but as a species, we have been fooled about things for a long time, right? And we've got to realize that we've got to sort of climb out of our cloud and get to the point where we realize actually we can be fooled, and the truth can be very, very much made to somebody's agenda, and we just suck it up. You know, we just don't. We take it unquestioningly.
Yeah,
we do. You're right.
Yes, it's really quite shocking.
Yeah.
But like we were saying earlier on, I think when it's a really big subject, this, and I think these are all brilliant, viewpoints. And I think that sometimes it's like, all I know is that I'm a sensitive person, oversensitive sometimes, but I'm sensitive to things. And I know when somebody's not telling me the truth. I actually just feel, I feels a bit off, but
Yeah.
let's let it go. But
Yeah.
again, I think we all have that innate gift of being able to sense what is true for us and what's not true for us. So we know what's bullshit and what's not. We really do. We were watching this thing last night. I don't know if you've seen it yet. It's called, oh God, what's it called? It's got Saran Jones in it. It's brilliant. Vigil. And she's done a couple of them. And it's like a docudrama. And this one was about Arabs and missiles and the British government being involved. It was a big conspiracy thing, but it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we were watching it, and I said to Kim, all of this is going on, and it always has done. They're just bringing it out into plain sight now, and more of us are becoming more sensitive to what is actually our truth, not the truth that's being told to us or fed to us from childhood, or we've just learned to repeat stuff that we know, like the Christmas thing. That's just learned behavior that our parents did, and we just repeat it. Well, I don't now, but we can only evolve through that, and through detecting with our own BS detector, which is deep within us. Does that feel true for me? Does it feel not true for me? And if it's something that we have to, there's so much information out there that whatever rabbit hole you want to go down, you will find the answer to what you're looking for, whether it's crap or not. You will always find the answer. So what is the answer?
I think I love what you're talking about, like sensing, because that's where I'm at the moment. Like, I love that you're doing your experiments, Rob. Which one am I going?
I love
I love that you're doing your experiments, because you're going to be using your sensory equipment and also actual calibration equipment to make an informed decision. And right now, like where I am in life right now, I think if I don't have a direct experience that I can actually sense with, real sense, then it might as well not have happened or not be happening, or it's not my business. And that's not to denigrate any war that's going on. But I'm really aware that, we can be told certain things are happening that might not be happening as well.
Totally get
I'm really,
that. I totally get
really aware that there are always like probably 3 or 4 different counter arguments going on simultaneously, almost just to get our attention. Now, like in my thoughts and thinking, I'm thinking, well, if I haven't a direct experience of it, it doesn't exist to me.
I agree.
And like Jay, I've met you in the flesh. Rob, I still haven't actually met you in the flesh. Now, to me, you seem really, really real, and I really appreciate you. But at some point, I'd love to meet you and your lovely family at some point. I think that would be really great. I realised.
Why don't we all go on holiday to Scotland and meet at Rob's cabin?
Come and stay in my shed.
I'd love to. In the summer.
Come and stay in my shed.
I mean, one thing that really occurred to me is, like, so many of us now actually work remotely. And over the last few years, like, people can buy my services. And so I've had people like send me an email. There'd be somebody who I've never met before. And I might actually be working. I mean, I know it doesn't seem very probable that somebody would pay for me to work on something that's not real. But, I have no direct experience that some of these people actually exist. We are living in a really remote world. And, we could, I don't know. I just think there's so many different things going on right now. Unless I have a real direct experience, I just don't know.
I think that's extremely wise, isn't it? I mean, wherever you get information that comes from somebody else, that involves, there's somebody else involved in that, right? And it's another human being, right? And there's good and bad. There's a huge array of human beings, and there's lots of agendas going on in the world. There's lots of people have got their own. Everyone's got their own agenda, right? Good or bad. I've got my agenda, right? And so it's just it's like slowly wakening up. I think this process that the world's going through is everyone, to some degree, is waking up to these truths, to to become sort of like, subjectively objective, or is it objectively subjective? Right. So you can actually sort of see yourself within the context of your life and yourself.
Yeah.
And you sort of start to appreciate, well, this is what you become self-aware, and it's quite. I mean, I'm sure it's a big evolutionary step.
I agree with you, Rob. Do you know, I find that I've
Yeah.
said to friends recently, I said, it's as if I'm in this place I can't describe. I don't actually exist. And yet there's something of me that exists, but I'm observing all of it going on around me. And somehow I'm taking part in it, but I'm not in it. It's a weird feeling. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's
Ages
right.
ago. I mean, we've got loads of comments coming in, and we should probably start wrapping this up in a sec. Carl's not even listening to know I'm about to share his comment, but he said, there is no they. He said it ages ago, or actually it's only 4 minutes ago, but it seems like a long time ago in the cut and thrust of this chat room. There is no they. So we often talk about they do this, they do that. Like, from my perspective, I'm realizing now that, like, how do I know they exist? How do I know what they are? Again, I'm taking all that on red as well. And, then I start to think in terms of, are we a connected species? Are we all one intelligence reflected through lots of different bodies? In which case there is no they. We're doing it to ourselves. It's hard because then we do see the physical reality that Rob was describing of unwanted or partially wanted windmills or farms or whatever going up in places, and that definitely looks like there's a they behind that. But raises.
I mean, I look at it like that, and I think I just look at I can't even say the evidence around me, but what I see going on around me out there is that there are definitely the politicians and people with the money and the power at the moment are making things happen in our particular outside environmental world that we don't wish to happen. And I'm seeing that all of it is about money. Every single thing leads back to money and more money, and who's going to get money and who's got the most money.
That is how it seems, for sure.
I know, but you see, I'm going down the latest rabbit hole I'm also going down is like, who has the power? And I'm learning a lot about things called jurisdictions. So when we're born, when we are we're born as we're given birth to, right? We are received into what's called the soil jurisdiction. And the soil and the land jurisdiction are, the soil is the first 6 inches of the ground, and we belong to that. And then the ground belongs to what's called the soil. That's the soil. Then underneath the soil is the ground jurisdiction. And in these jurisdictions is where common law exists.
I've heard about that too.
Yeah. So, but all these other other jurisdictions, like maritime jurisdiction and the air jurisdiction, and it's like, who actually owns it? They're like the legal system that we live within. We think it's got some sort of more morality. It's not at all. It's just a business, and it owes no. It owes no. It doesn't have to. It doesn't have to sort of prove itself to be fit for purpose or be just. It's just got to make money. And it belongs to the maritime. It's a maritime business. So your local courtroom is a maritime business. Now, it shouldn't be that way. We've been usurped by, and it's been going on for hundreds of years. And all our, so you were saying that who's in charge of people with the power? Actually, it's, believe it or not, if you can get your jurisdiction back to the land and soil, you've got the power. Absolutely. And they can do nothing about that. They can do absolutely nothing about that at all. And if you don't agree with, you can't stop the government doing because there's only one of you. But you can't stop them doing things to you that you don't agree with, right? So
Yeah.
if they come back with any mandates or something that you don't feel keen to take part in, you can do that. So that's where I'm. Even that, I mean, I can't believe my whole world has gone upside down this last few years, because all of a sudden now everything's back to front. What we thought was justice isn't justice at all. It's just business. Law and legal are different, and the law is very simple. You don't do any harm to anybody, and that's it, pretty much, right? And yet we're trained. It's like the people with the power are the people who control what you believe is true. That's what it boils down to. And
Fascinating, isn't it?
it's like we're sort of, loads of us are sort of slowly waking up from the slumber in different ways. We've all got our different rabbit holes but they all go to the same place, which is, getting more to the truth. And it's the more you get there, the more you realize how asleep I was, and loads of other people still are, and I still am in different aspects as well, But you become self-aware. I think it's quite exciting, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do. I love all these little things that keep coming at me and challenging me and thinking, what do I feel? What do I feel? And again, I've noticed a comment in here. Sarah says, all of this thinking, is it possible that it's the trap of the cult to keep us from being and knowing the truth of the now? I absolutely heartily agree with that, Sarah.
Carl is holding up his hands because that's where Carl is really, really. I'm just trying to find that.
It's at 11:10 a.m. She's put that one. I've just noticed it, and I thought, I love that. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. Talking of chat, I've really enjoyed this, and this is like one of those ongoing subjects, isn't it?
Forever.
So what I'd like to do is just go through the rest of the comments quickly and then start to wrap it up, because we can always chat other times, can't we, as well? So like Carl said, there is no they. And that's really tying into what Sarah's saying about, we're thinking about stuff all day long now. And isn't that the new cult that's sort of dispossessing us or possessing us and disabling us? I look forward to the findings, and then I'll keep living. What if it's a bumpy triangle? I think that's about the flat earth. Carl's saying it's new age is conspiracy porn. I think there is quite a strong element of that. And I've been looking at some of the new age greats, people that we've taken a lot of advice from, and realizing that they've got the completely wrong bone structure for who they say they are. So that's interesting too.
Gillian on that one, yeah.
Gillian saying, and why would there be such an incentive to brainwash us? What if we are the creators? And that is the motivation to make us create for others. Oh, that's an interesting point. Let's not mistake ultimate truth for the ultimate thoughts, from Carl. Sarah saying, yes, Jay, sensing what feels like truth or a lie. Yes, Louisa. Gillian saying, if there is a Scottish gathering, me too, and you're very welcome up here too. So there's the idea of us all getting together. Sarah saying that is exactly why your shed is appealing, Rob. The whole idea of us getting together. Robert, have you followed Cal Washington's work and In Power, Notices of Liability?
No.
Bob Wenger. Bob saying, been lurking, great conversation, business, bad business is at the root of the problems. Greed.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, money. Yeah, greed. Business is greed. So it is. It's a weakness of man.
And Carl is saying, thinking is the Matrix. The movie was a great misdirection. So there's so many thoughts here.
Isn't it? I love all these. It's just such a diverse conversation. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like we started off like looking at magic and like diving into why we've hidden parts of ourselves and what we can what can be revealed. And it's interesting that we've like gone from this like personal, we've hidden things, we've hidden the truth from ourselves, and then it's like on a global scale, the truth has been hidden. Now, who did the hiding? Was it us? Was it, like at the end of Scooby-Doo, where we take off the mask and it's the creepy janitor? Are we going to take off that mask and realize that actually it was us all along? Or, like the big corporates I don't know. There's so many different layers now. So anyway, Sarah's last comment was, whoa, Carl, you opened up right up. Carl had a treatment yesterday. I hope that's okay for me to share. He's actually just saying I'm a woman. That's what he's saying. But I can verify he's not. But
we
anyway.
know all along.
And Newbie Net has joined us as well. It must be really early morning for her. I think this will give me interesting dreams when I go back to sleep. But bless her, Newbie Net's in San Francisco or California somewhere, so it is early doors for her. So have a nice rest of your sleep. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. Everyone that's joined us today, whether you've been lurking, you've been commenting. Thank you to Jay and that magical story that had me in tears. Thank you, Rob. It's so nice to see you. Like on Friday, we've got our Christmas get together. So loads of people are going to get together, hopefully. If you can't join us but want to send us a message, then please do drop us a line, send us a little short video clip and we'll put it on. But Friday, I just want it to be about joy and sharing and for us to say goodbye to this year. But anyway, thank you so much. Hopefully we'll be seeing you all soon. Thank you once again, guys. And let's connect in another time. Bye for now. Bye.